2020. In today's top story, huge Antifa-Nazi Patriot brawl erupts in Portland, Oregon. A black looter mob terrorizes the suburbs, waking people up at night. And evidence that the Bannon indictment had political motivations in order to affect the 2020 presidential election. And a UPS driver goes postal on I-5, shoots at 7 cars, and shoots 1 woman. Real Simple News is an open source news organization. You can find us at github.com/realsimplenews/realsimplenews. This is issue ticket 88. It can be a little bit confusing to get there, so it's a lot easier if you go to realsimplenews.net/issue 88, where you can find this story. You can find links to our YouTube channel and the link to the GitHub issue ticket as well. You can also make a donation to the show to keep us going. We do need more equipment, more reliable equipment. It is actually the 23rd, but the computer crashed in the middle of the show. So it is actually a need to get more reliable equipment. All funds for this channel go to fund Wikispy, an open source tool and fact-checking service for monitoring wiki-like sites for tampering by hostile agents and political bias. It's intended to prevent the Chinese Communist Party. They're actually the Chinese Nazi Party. They're a national socialist structure now. To prevent them from tampering with Wikipedia. And it is a mostly nonprofit, but as you'll see from this Steve Bannon thing, there might be some Democrat deep state operative that tries to politically prosecute me if I do not say we might spend 2.5% of this on a golf cart and an SUV and some other things that some deep state Democrat might want to prosecute me for. Which is funny because that deep state Democrat probably has a really nice job and they probably have a nicer one. Our top news article from the New York Post, Donald Trump offers to send the National Guard to Portland to quell the riots. It's not protest violence, dude, it's riots. President Donald Trump, the king of memes, said Saturday that he was prepared to once again send in the National Guard troops to cities if asked, following the 86th consecutive nights of rioting in Portland, Oregon. I live in Eugene, and this stuff is terrorism. It has gone way beyond the protest that was over the methed out black dude that died from fentanyl. So look, we're swimming in fake news. Look at this bullshit. New York Times, this was published June 25th. So this was relatively, this was after the toxicology report came out. And the opinion says, we know how George Floyd died. It wasn't from drugs. It said the idea drugs played a role in the new version of the old racist myth. Oh yeah, the methed out black guy on fentanyl, banging dope. There's a reason for that. And that's because African Americans, their crime rate is like 5 times, depending on how you want to look at it, it's 5 to 10 times greater than the white community. And that's way higher than the Latino community. And like, that's like obscene compared to the Asian community. So they're saying basically, if you think that George Floyd was a methed out black dude who was banging fentanyl, that you are racist, because facts are now racist. But let's look at the toxicology report from Dan Abrams. This is from lawandcrime.org or .com. They do have a NewsGuard certification. We're going to look at the toxicology report here. I would implore you to read this scholarly article. It will give you a lot better information than the fake news New York Times will give you. And you can see here where the fentanyl line is. You can see that the methed out black man had 11 nanograms of fentanyl in his system. And so at 0.75 milliliters per nanogram, that is a lethal dose of fentanyl. So the methed out black man had 14 lethal doses of fentanyl in his system. So obviously the New York Times is fake news. Let's go over here and read the fake news from the New York Post. Another bad night of rioting in Hold on, this is a quote. Another bad night of rioting in Portland, Oregon. A small number of federal troops there to protect the courthouse and federal properties. Only great job, Trump tweet said Saturday morning. That was some bullshit grammar. Like that. So like when you're gonna cite somebody like that and like that you don't know that they're that's the quote from them. If it's like you should probably put the person up top. I'm sorry, being a grammar Nazi here. It's a context thing. Like I started saying the quote, who is this person? Quote, wanting to be asked by city and state to stop the riots in all caps would bring the National Guard, end problem immediately. Ask in all caps, exclamation point. Protests were so violent downtown Portland last night, cops declared it a riot early Saturday. I've read that statement a number of times and I still don't exactly know why it is. Why did they say they declared it earlier Saturday night? If you know why they said declared it earlier Saturday night, if you could comment on issue 88, because that really is kind of a weird sentence there. The crowd of nearly 100 threw glass bottles, broke windows and patrol cars, pointed lasers outside of a precinct Friday night before the police decided to move, the Associated Press reported. Before the police moved in, the AP reported. Police also reported that balloons filled with feces were spotted being pelted at cars. We have a picture of that. Here's the picture of the feces. Portland tweet from Mr. Andy No. Portland police confiscated a bucket of projectiles from Antifa-Nazis at the Tuesday riot. Condoms were filled with some unknown foul liquid and bottles were filled with urine. It is my personal theory that they were making jankum. If you don't know what jankum is, it's a drug that you can make from pooping and peeing in a bottle, and then you put a balloon over the bottle, and then the balloon fills up, and you can huff the gas. I don't know what the hell it does to you, but we're reasonably sure that these people are on jankum or something like that. Maybe there's some flocka in town that we don't know about. I don't know, man. There's usually good drugs floating around this town, but the people who are out rioting, they aren't really like the druggy types, to be quite honest. They're white feminists, mainly they're actually white feminists. In fact, actually the party people, I used to throw huge raves back in the day. I'm very well known in Eugene. I helped start the 2016 Portland anti-Trump protest. And I'm definitely noticing that the party people aren't all with this. It definitely seems to be the white feminists. Officers used smoke to break up the group and detained several of the rioters, the AP reported, citing local news outlets and videos posted online. It wasn't clear whether anyone was arrested. On Friday, rioters threw rocks and glass bottles at federal agents outside the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement building that they had sprayed with graffiti, the AP reported. The agents broke up the crowd with smoke and tear gas and crowd control munitions. Three arrests were made. Earlier in the day, federal government closed several buildings citywide while FBI investigated a car bomb threat. The violence came just hours after the arrest of 25-year-old Marquise Love, who was collared for allegedly knocking a man unconscious during rioting last week. And so it really irritates me that I said allegedly. Like, okay, so there's two theories on this. So one is that they just had some other buddy in their media. So they're ivory tower liberals. If you're unaware of what these people are, they are people who sometimes they typically work in skyscrapers, but it's a metaphor for an extremely corrupt, brutal system that came from white supremacy. Democrats owned slaves, started the KKK, opposed women's suffrage, and passed the 1994 crime bill. So the Democrats are in control of the ivory tower. Ivory tower liberals are people who work at the top floors of the ivory tower, who will tell you anything that you want to hear to get you to like the post, watch the ad, buy the product, and vote for them. They are sleazebag pieces of shit, and they are in control of these fake news companies like New York Post and Daily Mail and what's another regular? New York Times and Washington Post. So there's the theory. One theory says that they were too sloppy to actually do the research and actually look into Maurice Love and watch the video. They just kind of looked at another article that one of their journalist friends had written, and then they just parroted whatever he said. Because in the video, you can obviously see that Maurice Love definitely drop kicks that dude, knocks him unconscious. There's no allegedly about this. That saying allegedly here is fake news. I've played my own attorney in court. I know about the evidence procedures. You have clear and convincing evidence. You have a preponderance of the evidence and beyond a reason. Hold on. Let me switch those back. The lowest evidence is the preponderance of the evidence. That's more than likely it happened. The clear and convincing evidence is not beyond a reasonable doubt, but almost definitely this person did it. Or almost definitely the claims are true. And then you have beyond a reasonable doubt, which means that beyond a reasonable doubt, all the trains are collude. A reasonable doubt means that one person in the jury has a reasonable doubt in it. So obviously, this is beyond a reasonable doubt that Maurice Love kicked this person in the head. It is a fact. So that would be fake news to say that that is allegedly. Maurice Love is charged with felony counts of assault, coercion, and riots, with bail set at $250,000 on the top count of assault. Portland has long been a hotbed of left-wing extremism, even before the Black Looter Mob's riots, which swept the nation after the death of the methed-out black dude from George Floyd, who banged too much fentanyl, and he was really drunk, and he just was recovering from COVID. So, I mean, I hate to be the one to actually have to tell you this, you guys, but if you're doing that much meth and drinking and banging dope, if you get COVID, you're probably going to die from the drugs. Yeah, it happened to George Floyd. This decision, hold on. In July, President Trump, the king of memes, deployed troops to the city to protect federal property because the city was not doing it, and they are refusing to prosecute. Well, the state is refusing to prosecute rioters. The decision was denounced by City Mayor Ted Wheelers. That's a grammatical error. It's Ted Wheeler without the S. And Governor Kate Brown, who is doing a absolutely horrible job. She needs to be replaced. Everything that she's done has been horrible. She's placating to the Black Looter Mob and the white feminist and the cultural Marxist. Though most federal employees were eventually pulled out, Trump has consistently warned that they will return at any time. I personally hope that he brings the federal employees back to help us out because the state employees here are corrupt and they're not doing the job that they're supposed to do. Quote, Governor Kate Brown of Oregon is doing her job. No, she's not. Trump said at the time, quote, she must clear out and in some cases arrest the anarchists and agitators in Portland. If she can't do it, then the federal government will do it for her. Here's the videos of the riot. Yeah, obviously that person just got hit in the head with something or something. And if you donate to the show, we'll get faster internet. Obviously my internet's not fast. Looks like we're in slow-mo. I don't know what's going on. The equipment's not reliable. It's not. This equipment is not reliable in any way, shape, or form. I don't know why that video was doing that. It would be really irritating if I have to redo the show again. Here, let's I think that'll do it. I think that'll get us. It's still unstable. I really do think these people are getting brainwashed when they go doing this cadence. It's like, I remember back when I helped start that 2016 Portland anti-Trump protest. I remember just that stuff just brainwashes you when you're just like, Black Lives Matter, all pigs are bastard. No, it's not true. Blood's not there. They're fucking brainwashed, dude. You know, if the videos don't pause, usually I don't know what's going on. My computer's not fast enough. It's plenty fast enough. I don't know. We do need to raise funds to get a hardware unit. I'm not dealing with this computer shit anymore, dude. As soon as I can get a hardware unit, dude, we're getting a hardware unit, dude. Fuck these computers. Dude, it's not one thing, it's another with this equipment, you know? Well, it does look as if the reason why it's pausing is because I have to use a USB display device driver to get around the fact that the HDMI keeps crashing the computer. So it does look like it's a 10% CPU hit on that. Dude, there's one thing after another right now. I do believe as we get more of these browser tabs out of here, it'll stop being so slow. Probably just Twitter. Twitter's really buggy. Here's the Blue Lives Matter protesters coming in with their shields. These are what the good guys look like. They look like superheroes. The bad guys look like villains out of a movie. Here in this next... Here's images of the motorcycles that some of the Patriots rode in on. I think those... We need to see more mobs of motorcycles to shut down these Antifa-Nazis. Honestly, these Antifa-Nazis are complete fucking pussies, dude. They are cowards. They're absolute cucks, dude. Like, they couldn't do anything, man, to stop you, dude. If honestly, like, most of them, dude, are white feminists, dude. They couldn't fight anybody. So here's a mob of the black looter mobs going through Portland in a garage. There's nothing I can do about the video pausing. I can't continue to redo the show over and over again. It's the computer, sadly. So we do need people to donate to the show. I've spent thousands of dollars. I've gotten nothing out of it. People have hated on me. I have been canceled. I've had most of my friends turn on me for speaking the truth. So it's dramatically affected me to be a part of the intellectual dark web. I don't have a penny to my name, man. I just... Donations help. Video, see if that helps.
Now I don't have a phone! Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here, fucker!
Get your damn out, man.
Don't touch her, motherfucker! Hey! Fucking piece of shit! Back there with your mate, you fucking pussy!
No, this was at the beginning. This was the same thing from the beginning. The videos appear to be going a little bit smoothly. You don't know how frustrating that is for me. I worked so hard for the show, you know? I worked for days to put this together. Here's again another video of the Antifa-Nazis that look like comic villains out of a movie. Yeah. Duplicate over there. Oh, another duplicate. Here's a video of the black looter mob at night terrorizing the suburbs of Portland. Here they have a guillotine. They want to chop off the head of the white man. If you ever try to chop my head off, it's going to be the last thing you ever do. Here's another image of the Antifa-Nazis burning the American flag because they are the enemies of America. That's not cool at all. Yeah, fuck these people. I'm just kind of confused. Like, Oregon's just not a racist state. Like, who are they protesting against? What laws are these people trying to replace? What are the things that they're after? What are we even trying to do? This doesn't make a single lick of sense. None of this makes any sense.
Black Lives Matter!
Here's another video of them chanting, "Wake the F up," chants the black looter mob in Portland tonight as they go through residential areas and shut down streets.
Wake up, motherfucker, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, motherfucker, wake up! I hear you! Wake up! Wake up, motherfucker, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, motherfucker, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, motherfucker, wake up!
I just wish that it would do this when the show's not on, because if it did do this when the show was not on, I would actually be able to fix the problem.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, motherfucker, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, motherfucker, wake up! Wake up!
Here's another video of the Antifa-Nazis terrorizing Okay, so they're calling this tweet's from @Amy Siskind. She's saying Proud Boys is a hate group? That's insane. That's insane. No, hate groups are groups of people who use violence, intimidation, and How's that worded? They use violence, hatred, and hostility towards groups of people. So Antifa has always been a hate group. Antifa started as a communist group. They fought with Nazis, and then they joined the Nazis because Hitler won in a landslide. People don't remember this shit. They just think, oh, with the communists, they fought Nazis, so that means they were on the same side, right? No. They started on the same side, and then Hitler started running out of food and gas, and he invaded Russia. He invaded the Balkan oil fields, and that's when he lost. And much speculation says that Stalin knew he was running out of gas and food, and he said, I have you cornered. And they decided it was better to attack Russia, because if they lost, then socialists would control half of Europe and the USSR. And then they went and did the cultural de-evolution in China. They slaughtered millions of people, where the socialists in the cities went out to the countryside, which were capitalist, and they mass slaughtered over 100 million people in the USSR and China to change the culture, because they said it wasn't Marxism that failed. It was the culture that failed. So you have to eliminate the culture. And this is what we're experiencing right now with these Black looter mob Antifa-Nazis. They are using hatred, hostility, and violence towards Trump supporters, towards business owners, towards police officers, and towards white males. And this, by every stretch of the definition, what do we got? We have a hate group. We got race, so they target white males. We've got ethnicity. We've got, they're targeting Christians. They are targeting people by nation, the Americans. They are not targeting the people who are not Americans here. They're only targeting the Americans here. They're targeting them by religion. They are targeting them by gender. They are not targeting them by gender identity, but they are targeting them by their opposition to gender identity. And they are also targeting them towards, because of their sexual orientation of being straight. By all stretches, what's the other one? It says, or any other designated sector of society. And so that means a group of people that we can give a name to, such as Republicans. This whole thing is about Donald Trump. It is not about, it was about Donald Trump back in 2016 when I helped start the 2016 Portland anti-Trump protest. And it's about Donald Trump right now. It's an election year, and they hate Donald Trump. They're there very specifically. Oh, we have a guest. He's a bootsy kitty. He's got mittens and he has boots. Sorry. The magic door that just opens. So, yeah, let me move on.
Somebody got hurt. Get up! Okay.
Get ready to shoot that motherfucker! Somebody get ready to shoot that motherfucker! Woo!
Just remember, don't, if you do bring guns here to these protests, they're only for self-defense, dude. You don't point the gun at somebody unless you intend to shoot them. When you do point at them, you shoot. You don't just point to scare. You point away to scare. You point to shoot, and you pull the trigger right away. You don't fuck around with firearms. Firearms, when you point them at something, it's because you're going to shoot it. Or because you show it to something you're trying to scare away. But there's no need to point the thing at someone in order to scare them away. Please, utilize the Second Amendment as it's supposed to be used, which is for self-defense. Because a well-regulated militia is a key to a free state. It's a necessity to a free state. So we have to actually have these people there. But it is very easy to be a wingnut and pull the trigger when you don't need to. So we are on the side of right. Let's not have any accidents. Let's just make them look really bad.
Officers continue to observe members of the groups gathered near the Justice Center, throwing projectiles and actively fighting. Stop participating in criminal activity. Failure to adhere to this direction may result in the gathering being declared an unlawful assembly or riot.
Hold your line!
Failure to subject you to arrest, citation, or crowd control agents, including but not limited to tear gas or improved weapons. Stop participating in criminal activity.
You know, I liked what they said there a lot better than what they've been saying. That is actually a significant improvement over just disperse. You've been given a lawful order to disperse. Actually asking them to stop breaking the law? I mean, come on. I mean, we should have been doing that from the beginning, dude. Here's another video of the black looter mob marching outside residential areas.
Out of your house, into the street!
See, this is why these people go insane when they start chanting. Once they start chanting, then it's like commands, like, out of the house, into the street, out of the house, into the street, and then they're brainwashed. Next thing you know, they've been sent these message through the higher ups in this Antifa command. And yes, they do have higher ups. Yes, they do have a hierarchy that exists on social media. Yes, they do have commanders. This is a full-blown paramilitary terrorist group. It's not just a riot and loot group like the Black Looter Mob. This is BLM Antifa-Nazi, or Blamman, B-L-M-N-B-L-M-A-N, Blamman. All right, one more, and then we made it through the videos, and we're done. Here's them arresting some scum Tifa on the street. Yeah! Oop, I think we covered the story. In this next article from the Washington Examiner, Glorious, Postal Service agents arrest Steve Bannon. Former President Trump advisor Stephen Bannon was arrested by agents from the U.S. Postal Service, an independent agency at the center of a political firestorm over mail-in voting, which is a fraud, by the way. It's susceptible, highly susceptible to voter intimidation and last-minute ballot theft and other people filling out your ballots. Like, you're not allowed to intimidate people at the polls. right? We actually made, like, there's laws in place that prevent people from intimidating people at the polls. So because of this, mail-in voting is absolutely fraudulent because people can intimidate people at their houses. They can fill out ballots of people with memory impairment issues and tell them they forgot them. So you can just basically, if you want to actually perpetrate this kind of mail fraud or voter fraud, this is how you go about doing it. You tell the person you filled out your ballot, but you didn't sign it. And you tell them that multiple times. And then they'll even if they don't have dementia, they'll believe it. And then after you've told them enough times, then you fill out the ballot and you say, you filled out, here's the ballot you forgot to fill out. And then they'll just sign it. They won't even think about it, dude. They could also just steal your ballot at the last minute before you're going to go vote. And yeah, you can go get another ballot, but it's going to take them a while to send it to you, dude. You might miss the election. This is the fundamental problem with mail-in voting. Also, too, all of these BLM Antifa-Nazis are out here rioting and protesting in person. Why the hell are Blemmin out here in person if it's so effective to participate in democracy just by yourself in your house where you get all your information off the internet? Why? Well, obviously, it's because it's incredibly easy to rig elections when you don't show up in person. When you show up in person and you wait in line, you talk to your neighbors about what you're going to go vote on. This is an essential method of democracy. When Democrats, it's only Democrats trying to take this from you. Democrats are trying to take your right to vote in the polls, in person, in the polling booths. They are trying to take away your right to vote. They say, oh no, you can still vote in your house, right? But no, you can't participate in democracy when you're alone at your house, when your partner is filling out your ballot for you, controlling the way that you vote, or taking your ballot and saying, yeah, honey, I'm going to turn your ballot in. And then they throw it away because they know you voted for Trump. Everything about mail-in ballot voting is a complete fraud. I live in Oregon. They've had up to 2.5% to 5% of ballots have been disqualified in counties in Oregon. It is 100% true. That is enough ballots to swing an election. Absolutely is that fraudulent. If you get an absentee ballot, let's say we have 5% fraud on mail-in votes. Everybody's ballot now has 5% fraud on that. That's enough to swing an election. But now let's say you have 5% fraud on 5% of people who signed up for absentee ballots. That is 0.25% fraud. 0.25% fraud is very much so smaller than 5% fraud. In fact, it's 20 times smaller, right? 5 times 4 is, or 0.25 is 1. And it was 5. 5 times 4 is 20. Right. So, yeah, it's utterly shocking that they're actually trying to pull this shit off. They're literally trying to defraud us out of a democratic election, prevent you from speaking on public property. The times, places, and manners in which you can vote now are being abridged by Democrats because they say you can't stand in a line even though you go to the grocery store and you go to work and the kids go to school. No, you can't fill out, you cannot stand in line during the election because of COVID. And that's months from now. So apparently the COVID thing's going to be raging in 3 months from now. Right. Everything about this is fake, dude. Everything about this is fake. Sources confirmed to NBC News that agents from the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, the law enforcement arm of the U.S. Postal Service, these people typically do stuff like Ponzi schemes that were mailed to people. FBI would do a Ponzi scheme that was on the internet because that's an FBI cybercrime division. And so they couldn't get the FBI to arrest these people, probably because the FBI said it's an election year. Steve Bannon was a part of the Trump administration. This would have a disparate effect on Donald Trump's election. He is not a guilty party. Donald Trump is not a party to this crime. They could charge Steve Bannon after the election. They can do that. They can actually wait. They can say to Steve Bannon, look, we're going to charge you, but we're not going to do it till after the election. But you've been warned. And then Steve Bannon might dip out of town. That's correct. But that's better than influencing the 2020 election. They're saying, well, we'll get into it. They said they bought they didn't buy a boat. That's a lie. The boat was already purchased before the We Build the Wall thing, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. So the U.S. Postal Service arrested Mr. Bannon on Thursday after being charged by New York federal prosecutors with defrauding donors through his We Build the Wall fundraising campaign. His? Okay, these people are on Bannon's side. They messed up. It's not his campaign. That's an error, but it's kind of I don't think they noticed that. It was Brian Colfage's. It was not Steve Bannon's. He didn't get involved until after they had raised $20 million. A law enforcement official told Washington Post that Bannon had been taken into custody while aboard another person's yacht off the coast of Westbrook, Connecticut. And they want to try to make it seem like Mr. Bannon is like this incredibly greedy person, that he was taking this money and that he's taken the money and he spent it on some luxury yacht. Like, nah, man, that's fake news, bro. There's no truth there to that. That's absolutely fake in every single way, shape, and form. The truth is that Mr. Bannon has been a millionaire for quite a long time. Mr. Bannon does wonderful work fighting the Chinese Nazi Party. I used to hate Steve Bannon. I thought Steve Bannon was Dark Lord Bannon and that he was a fascist neo-Nazi and white supremacist. No, man, that's fake news, dude. There's no truth about that at all. Mr. Bannon is a patriot. He fights for the people of China. Mr. Bannon is absolutely not allowed at China at all. He will be arrested if he goes there under the national security law. He runs news organizations that fight China every single day. Steve Bannon is the man. He is not a fascist in any way, shape, or form. His entire life, he spends fighting fascism, dude. He is hardcore Antifa, dude. Like real, not Antifa like those communist motherfuckers, but like anti-fascist, like really much so against authoritarianism, against everything that the people are saying that he supports. Like this dude is a shining warrior of light. And the yacht was one of his Chinese friends. And China got this dude's back, bro. News that Mr. Bannon was arrested by U.S. Postal Service agents was met with glee by critics of President Donald Trump. The fact that that the Postal Service played a part in Bannon's arrest is fucking glorious. Tweeted GOP consultant Rick Wilson, a co-founder of the anti-Trump Lincoln Project. Anti-Trump Lincoln Project? I don't know what that is. The cash-strapped U.S. Postal Service has made national headlines in recent weeks with widespread mail-in voting expected to take place for the 2020 elections because of the pandemic that's over. Like, we need to have mail-in elections in 2 months when the pandemic's over. All right. So what about about 50% of the deaths were over the average age of death? The vast majority of these people would have died a month or 2 months later, but it just so happens that COVID was going around when they were about to kick the bucket. And then a third of these people have pre-existing conditions such as cancer that kills 600,000 people per year. And then diabetes, which kills 85,000 people per year. No, 86,000 people per year. And then about, of course. And then you have, like me, I'm 38. Next year, I might have diabetes. Next year, I might have cancer. So if I put off getting COVID until next year, my chance of dying goes up dramatically. Children who are under the age of 15, of the first 103,339 people who died, only 26 of them were under the age of 15. So children don't die from this. The reason why COVID is even deadly is because it's a new novel virus and your body does not have immunity to it. And so you get what is called secure acute respiratory syndrome, which is where it's a form of autoimmune, it's an autoimmune syndrome that causes your white blood cells to attack the wrong cells in your body. Then this leads to sepsis, which is pneumonia-like symptoms, but it's not quite like pneumonia. I've had pneumonia. It's not actually like pneumonia. It's slightly different. It's so this thing. Don't listen to me. We're gonna look it up right now. Like to cover these as much as possible. This is from NBC News. They have one of the best COVID charts here. And so we could see, here's the overall deaths reported per day in the United States. We could see there's been these patterns like this. You see the spikes there. That's because cities, these are called Gaussian curves. So here's New York. Here's the Gaussian curve of the death rate from New York. So as we can see in New York, there's no longer a problem with COVID. Here's the deaths in New Jersey. So we could see the pandemic is over in New Jersey. This is one of the states where they're trying to implement mail-in voting this winter. So they don't actually have a pandemic there anymore. They're citing pandemic as the reason why they are having to do this. But the fact is that the Gaussian curve is a Gaussian curve here. This is mathematical stuff. Like you can't argue with these things. Like Gaussian curves are Gaussian curves, dude. We can see Louisiana has another flare up, and that's because when you see these flare ups, it's because COVID's going around a city or a state. So we can see in California, they've been going down, and then they went down, and then they went back up over here. Am I on the right monitor? Yeah. Okay. Got to make sure I'm in the right monitor here. So California still got some issues. Pennsylvania, it's over. Illinois, it looks like it's kind of leveling off there. Florida, it's going to be over by the time of the election. Georgia, they had another resurface. All of these all these flare-ups are going to be done by the election. There's no way that any of these things, look at the Gaussian curve for New York. Look at the Gaussian curve. Look at this, month. Look, we got May 27th, right here. We got August 23rd, May, June, July, August, 3 months. Three months, you count them up, 3 months. They went without a flare-up. So they're trying to say that COVID's going to be preventing people from going to the polls. That is a lie. That's a lie. Everything about it is a lie. The Democrats are trying to rig the election. Democrats accused Trump of trying to interfere with the November election by squelching mail-in voting. This is such fake news garbage, dude. The Post, do we have an article about this? I think I have one. Maybe, here, I'm getting ahead of myself. Donald Trump never tried to, look, the U.S. Postal Service has been getting underfunded by Congress, man. Donald Trump is not Congress. Donald Trump does not allocate funding for Congress. He does not have the power of the purse. That would be what Congress does. They're the people who actually are allowed to give money to the USPS. So what they're claiming that Donald Trump did was that the guy that he put in charge of the USPS decommissioned old mail sorting machines that they weren't using because they had new ones that could handle. I mean, come on, dude. They have new ones that can handle this shit. Like, oh, but then they shut it down, and then some of the mail backed up in some places, not everywhere. And then they're saying, oh, Donald Trump's trying to rig the election because they shut down the voting machines or the mail sorting machines that were going to get shut down anyways. But they did it 3 months before the election, so he's trying to rig the election. This is so stupid. Everything about this is brain dead stupid, dude. The election is not for another few months, dude. Come on, man. You shut down the old machines 3 months before the election. You figure out how the new machines work, and everything's going fine before the elections. They're going to prioritize mail-in ballots anyways. But everything from these Democrats is a lie. Audrey Strauss, the acting deep state U.S. attorney for Southern District of New York, and Philip Bartlett, the deep state inspector charged of New York field office of the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, announced the unsealing of the indictment against Mr. Bannon and others on Thursday. Quote, this case should serve as a warning to other fraudsters that no one is above the law, not even a disabled war veteran or a millionaire political strategist, end quote, Bartlett said. Apparently they think Democrats are above the law. In this next article from Fox News, Steve Bannon says indictment over border wall campaign is a political hit job. The former Trump advisor says he will fight fraud charges to funding border wall with Mexico. Steve Bannon called his arrest a political hit job and vowed to fight the federal indictment that alleges he defrauded hundreds of thousands of people who donated to a fundraising campaign to build a wall with Mexico. So, note, they donated to build a wall with Mexico, right? This is the key. It was build the wall, right? Quote, I'm not going to back up 1 inch, end quote, Bannon said Friday on America's Voice News. Quote, these charges are all nonsense. It's a political hit job, end quote. I do so agree. Bannon says that the deep state federal authorities were trying to silence him. Quote, this fiasco yesterday was to intimidate anybody that wants to talk about American sovereignty, wants to talk about the wall, and quote, Bannon said, quote, we're never going to stop talking about it and fighting for it, end quote. And that is because 56% of illegal immigrants are from Mexico. 4 in 5 border crossers make it through the border without getting caught. Only 1 in 5 are caught. There are 20 illegal immigrants for every homeless person on the street. Almost 11 of them are Mexicans. We have immigration laws for one primary reason, and one primary reason alone. If we do not enforce our border laws, our neighbors will illegally immigrate over the border and they will slowly annex our territory. Mexico wants to take California from us. They think that they own California and people think that the U.S. took the Californians from the Amerindians. They think that we took it from the people whose land it was, which is insane. This is insane. There's no truth about this at all. When the Spanish-American War happened, Mexico was under complete control of conquistadors, dude. They were Spaniards from Spain. They had less than 5,000 people in California, in all of their territories. There was less than 5,000 conquistadors there. They also became U.S. citizens, and they also, many of them rose up to be the wealthiest people in their community because they were the only people who were there, right? So they were the ones who rose up the social hierarchy while everybody else did not. Duh. Yeah. So I was talking about Mexico. Yeah. So Mexico, they think that we took the land from the dark-skinned Mexicans, like the ones who were the original inhabitants. There's no such thing as an indigenous American. No, it's the fact. There's no indigenous Americans anywhere, dude. It's except for Africa. Humans are indigenous to Africa. Everywhere else, a human transported humans to that place. If a human transports a plant or an animal to another place, that is not called an indigenous animal. That was transported there by a human. Same thing happens with humans. They were the original inhabitants. I am a Native American. I am native to Oregon. I am a part of the Willamette tribe in Oregon. Or, hold on, no. The Willamette tribe in Oregon. Sorry, that's my joke. It's pronounced Willamette, and it's Oregon, like organ in your body. But it's kind of fun to mispronounce it because we like to burn the tourists who come. So if we can get you to say Willamette, we will get a joke out of it. It really irritates me. They say, I'm not a Native American. And they're like, really? I'm not native to America. So what exactly does an American look like? Does it look like an Amerindian? Very, very infrequently does it ever look like an Amerindian. If you ask anybody what somebody from America looks like, they will say it kind of looks like me. If you don't like that, well, which tribe of the Amerindians are supposed to be the ones that we are supposed to say is the ones that are in control? Is it the Aztecs? Do the Aztecs control all of North and South America? You mean the ones that did ritual human sacrifice versions? Or is it the Amerindian tribes in North America that would invade other tribes and take slaves and commit genocide? I don't know which one is they're trying to say, because there's a whole bunch of them. They all came from Asia in a land bridge, and then they went across on a land bridge, and we went across on a boat because we invented the wheel, because it takes a genius to invent the wheel. And because they did, if the Amerindians only would have had the smallpox medication that the white man invented, then none of this would have happened. In which case, I'm saying that that's pretty whiny little baby thing to say. Reading on in the article, former advisor to Trump and his architect of the 2016 campaign was aboard a $28 million yacht owned by a Chinese billionaire when he was arrested on fraud charges Thursday morning in the Long Island Sound near Westbrook, Connecticut, according to reports. Bannon then pleaded not guilty to federal court in Manhattan after being indicted with three others who were accused of defrauding donors on the online fundraising campaign known as We Built Wall that raised $25 million. Bannon was released on a $5 million bond. So please note, Bannon had $5 million that he was able to put up for bond for this. Obviously, Steve Bannon is not some broke joke. He's obviously a powerful person who has powerful friends. Quote, everyone knows I love a fight, Bannon said. You know, I was called Honey Badger for many years. You know, Honey Badger doesn't give. So, you know, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm in it for the fight, end quote. Trump immediately distanced himself from Bannon and the private border wall campaign. Trump said he feels very badly for his former advisor who was arrested for defrauding donors. Why'd they have to stick in the defrauding donors? I don't know. This is Fox News. They're on Bannon's side. I don't know. And he called it the project, quote unquote, inappropriate. He said he hadn't dealt with Bannon in a, quote unquote, very long time. Quote, I feel badly, but I have been dealing with him for a very long time. And quote, Trump told reporters Thursday, I haven't been dealing with him at all, end quote. The president said he didn't, quote, know anything about the project at all, end quote, but that he didn't like it. Thought it was being done for showboating reasons, Trump said. According to the indictment, Bannon and co-defendant Brian Kolfage raised money for a volunteer organization and told the public that 100% of donations would go towards the federal government's building of the wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. 100% of building the wall go towards building the federal government's building of a wall. So are they just going to donate it to... They did not say they're just going to donate the money to the federal government. That's the key that you have to understand. They said, I'm going to build the wall. If you're going to build a building, this also includes administrative costs that go along with building a building, such as the architect, such as the travel expenditures, the hotel bills, all of the different things that you put on the credit card while you were out there, because that stuff's not free. And you can't expect a volunteer to pay for the stuff for an organization that just got $27 million in funding. There's different numbers going around. The indictment says 27. Quote, these representations were false. The indictment read, within a week of Kolfage launching the campaign in 2018, they raised nearly $17 million, prosecutors said. Prosecutors claim that Kolfage, Bannon, Andrew, and Timothy Shea took money for themselves as the campaign raised more than $25 million. The indictment alleges Bannon received more than $1 million through a nonprofit that he then used for personal expenses and to pay Kolfage. And so this is, again, this is sloppy reporting, dude. This is from Fox News too. They like Bannon. The $1 million was split up between that was used to cover expenses for multiple people, for all four of the people for, 3 or 4 years? So if you look at 4 people divided by, 1 million divided by 4 is 250,000, divided by 3 again, and you're looking at a wage that you would pay somebody. It's not like out of the ordinary. Prosecutors say Bannon and the others used the nonprofit and shell company to hide payments to Kolfage by using fake invoices and sham vendor agreements. And so what they mean by that is Bannon has his own organization. He has multiple businesses, and you could work for Mr. Bannon in a variety of ways. And so they're saying that they're fake and they're scam, but this is a lie. There's no truth to that at all. They're not sham companies. These people say they're sham companies because Mr. Bannon fights China. He fights the Chinese Nazi Party. He fights for freedom. He fights to bring democracy to Hong Kong. And so they don't think that that's legitimate. They don't think that spreading democracy and that being on the side of Americans, trying to prevent the illegal immigrants from making it so your children cannot control America because your children are not racist. If you say that I am being racist by trying to enforce our border laws, then I'm not doing it for myself. I like Mexicans. My dad was from Mexico. I would love to marry a Mexican chick. If you know any Mexican chicks who are single and still of family age, because that's actually important in a relationship, then I am actually single and I actually do love Latinas. But the thing is our children they're saying I'm racist for trying to protect the country for my children, to ensure that my children are able to have control over their own country so that their genes propagate in the gene pool over Mexicans' genes. That to these people, that is far right. Honestly, that's lunatic to say that that's far right, because your kids aren't racist, dude. If I'm doing it to make so my kids can control their own country, that obviously would be my kid's not racist, so you're claiming I'm doing it for a racist reason, but the reality is that the child who's going to benefit from this is not racist. So none of it makes any sense. There's 20 illegal immigrants for every single homeless person on the street. They're banging cartel dope left and right that that methed out black guy that died from the fentanyl, George Floyd, the one that had 14 lethal doses of fentanyl, that dope, that fentanyl, that came from China. That came from the Chinese Nazi Party. They're sending over massive amounts of fentanyl in order to kill us in using it as a chemical weapon. So when you see propaganda on the internet that is preventing you from enforcing illegal immigration laws, that's basically, a lot of it is proxy for China is actually conducting a cyber warfare operation to which Steve Bannon is the man helping protect America from. These people are literally, the Chinese are literally trying to prevent us from enforcing our border policies through the notion of the Great Replacement. They've rigged Wikipedia. This is why I do WikiSpy, a tool for monitoring Wikipedia for tampering by hostile foreign agents and political bias. And it's because I discovered what I believe to be Chinese Nazi Party agents. They gamed Wikipedia. They gamed the admin in Wikipedia. So this is why I'm doing the reverse psychological profile of Wikipedia admins with the WikiSpy software. And then we do these AI flashcard things that'll show you whether or not the thing is true or not. Using a generative adversarial network. Almost said general. The indictment says that the order was to raise funds. Colfage and Bryan repeatedly and falsely told the public that they would not take a penny in compensation. Bannon 60. So compensation. What does compensation mean? Like, they wouldn't take any wages, right? So what they're accusing them of doing is not taking, hold on, let's get to they didn't put it in here. Bannon 66 charged with one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, one count of conspiracy to commit money laundering, in which carries a maximum penalty of 20 years. And so usually when you launder money to like make profit off of it. They're saying that they laundered money by utilizing the nonprofit structure, the existing nonprofit structure that Mr. Bannon had, and that because any nonprofit is going to have overhead. They said they took 1/25 of the money, so that's 4% of the money. I say it's 3% of the money. It's not 4%. They raised more than they had said there. So this money too also was a pot of money that you would add to later. They are also so here. Let's look at We Build the Wall. Because I want to donate to Mr. Bannon. Even if he goes and spends 4% of it on a golf cart, the overhead for most nonprofits is way over 50%, dude. It's like 80, 90% sometimes, dude. It's insanely high, the overhead. So the fact that these people only had 4% overhead in 3 years is actually spectacular. This is a great, I would highly implore you to donate to We Build the Wall because of how ruthlessly efficient these people are with the money. Holy crap, only 4%, and they spent that 4% on a golf cart and an SUV to haul the golf cart? Really? Damn. You know, you might think like, oh, but he got a Range Rover. Let's make a donation here. Does it say fight back? Here's the volunteer. Where's the donate? Oh, they suspended the campaign. I can't make a donation now. How can I make a donation? Like, I want to support everything that this man does. How do I support, how do I buy them another golf cart and an SUV? How can I take my 50 cents in my pocket and turn the 50 cents in my pocket into a badass golf cart? Let's look at this golf cart. Is the inside the lavish life. So keep in mind, the people who are saying that these people are living a lavish life are ivory tower liberals who have mad cash. They grew up in a upper middle class house. They went to a good college, or they were rich. They were straight up rich kids, and they went to some Ivy League school, and then they got some job in New York Post working in a skyscraper, and their mommy and daddy funded it because they don't pay shit, but they wanted to be a journalist like Carlos Maza. This is a bullshit article. What the fuck is this? More fake news from the Washington Post. Here is the golf cart. And yes, we get more boobies on the news. Anytime I find a chance to put boobies on the news, I will put boobies on the news. So you should like and subscribe to this channel because this news does not suck. Far more entertaining than the other news channels. Let's see, looking for the golf cart. There's the yacht that they were on. That's the one that Mr. Bannon was on. So obviously Mr. Bannon is not a poor person. Here is the friend that he was with. I wish I had a friend like him. If you do, actually, if you own a boat and you like this content, you should hit me up and I'll come film episodes on your boat. All right, where's the article? Here's Mr. Colfage and his absolutely gorgeous wife. Got the full body, the rack. Man, so much crap. So here's the boat. They said that Colfage bought this boat before we build the wall. He'd been making payments on this boat, but the fake news media has been saying that he bought a boat, and it's because they didn't read everything into it. They just parroted what, and I even saw Timcast do this. Tim Pool even did this. He said, oh, it looks like they bought a boat, because I do the same thing that he does a lot of times. Like I'll get articles. I want to be the first one to jump on it, right? But then you don't get all the information, and then he didn't read the whole article. He just wanted to do the video as soon as he got the thing, because he's very good at that. He is a very good person. I'm not trying to be like Tim Pool. I'm trying to be long form, short form. So I don't like having to change the videos. I would rather just watch it for like 2 or 3 hours, the same video. Man, there's so much crap here. What the fuck? All of that to see the goddamn golf cart. They're sloppy over there, dude. That's straight slop. So this is the luxury golf cart. Okay, so I used to fight wildland forest fires, and I fought a number of brush fires around that area in Arizona and Utah. And let me tell you, if you want to get around those places, you actually literally need a golf cart like that. You might think that that's expensive, but you should look at all of the equipment in the firefighting catalog. Trust me, it is all insanely expensive. The reason why is because it doesn't break, and it's actually worth that much money because they need to go and inspect the border wall. They can't just like give these people money and not inspect the border wall. And so here's the SUV. They said it was a luxury SUV. It's a Range Rover. No, it's a nicer SUV. It's not but it is absolutely not like top of the line luxury. And so they're saying because they travel places in order to generate more money, because when you run a nonprofit based off of donations, you have to go around and get more donations. And so when you do this, there's travel expenditures. You put them on the credit card. And then after you do that, you pay back the money from the credit card. See, but to these prosecutors, they think these people are living in the lap of luxury because they see this Instagram model over here Like, oh, well, she's obviously they're living in the lap of luxury and they're living high on the hog on all of this stuff. The only problem is that the guy had the same lifestyle before the We Build the Wall campaign as after the We Build the Wall campaign. The guy also worked full time at this campaign. Like these prosecutors just expecting this dude to work for absolutely free. Like, okay, so he said we're going to spend 100% of the money to build the wall, that he won't take anything in compensation. And so he didn't say that they weren't going to buy some fancy stuff for the project, and then after the project was done, they're going to end up with the stuff, because that's different. At that point in time, you have to pay to get rid of that stuff. You don't have storage, dude. Just because you donated to put money into a dope-ass golf cart, which you should go to the We Build the Wall campaign and donate money so they could buy another one of those golf carts, another SUV, and a better boat, or I don't know if they need a boat. Whatever they need, dude, we're going to fund every single thing that these people need. And let's see what they said about the boat. They did say boat payments. Well, okay, so let's look at this. Let's say they took some of the money and they put it on a boat payment. Let's say that he's working all the time for this group and he's expended a lot of resources. He could have, if he went and did something else, he could have generated $100,000, $200,000 per year, which would have been a lot more than the money that they're claiming that they took. So the question you got to ask here is the boat used to build the wall? Is the SUV and golf cart cosmetic surgery? Now that one's not obvious. Well, that cosmetic surgery not okay. So is not used to build the wall. But here's the deal. Here's the deal on it. They've been building the wall. The wall was going up. They've done portions of the wall. The deal wasn't done yet. You said they took money. The deal wasn't done yet. They didn't put the wall up. You can't say they took money until they actually built the wall. And then they put a certain percent of the money. And then you said after they built the wall, they took this much money. What they're saying is that they borrowed money in order to make it so their life doesn't fall apart, because they're doing this We Build the Wall thing full time. They're not getting any sort of compensation for it. They're going to lose the boat. They're going to lose the house. They're going to lose, I can't really justify the plastic surgery. But they're saying all of this money was what I want to see receipts of when they said that Bannon paid this woman some money, and where did she not work elsewhere in Mr. Bannon's organization? That's what I want. This is why this is fake. This is absolute, complete political indictment, because these people did work for Mr. Bannon's organization. Mr. Bannon has a lot of employees. He makes a lot of payments for employees. So how is it that you're going to say that this wasn't them working somewhere else in the organization? You can't. Absolutely, you can't. Mr. Bannon is going to get off on this. All right, I think I've hit this article enough. What else we got? This next article from Newsweek: Deep Commission mail sorting machines in swing states could define the election because Democrats can't win without mail-in voting. Oh, wait, here. I'm going to show you the statistic of why this is actually true. Oh, wrong one. So here's a study from the Pew Research Center, and it shows you the demographics of people who voted in the last election. And this is the insanity of the left. So we can see in the age groups of who voted for Clinton and who voted for Trump. We can see over here that the largest percentage of people who voted for Trump were older people, i.e. the people who are at most risk of COVID, and that the people who voted for Donald Trump were primarily younger people. So they're saying we need to have mail-in voting because because of COVID, because people can't stand in a poll line even though they go to the grocery store and they go to work. Somehow standing in a line, talking to people about the laws you're about to vote on, somehow that's too dangerous now, but you can go out to a bar? So obviously we can see from the demographics here, and you have to be aware that the Democrats are very much so aware of all of these numbers. When they put out policies, they have studied these in detail, way more than I have. So you can see, if we had mail-in voting, since people who are under the age of 45, and that's this age right here, where there's over 50% of people voted for Clinton, this group of people has a 38 times less chance of dying from COVID. So of this group of people here, they have no reason at all to go to the polls, not to go to the polls, and they have every reason to get COVID. Because the reason why COVID's so deadly is because it causes severe acute respiratory syndrome, which is a form of autoimmune syndrome that is where your leukocytes, which are your white blood cells in your body, get the wrong chemical signatures on the wrong cell. So hold on. They detect COVID in the wrong cells. They don't know what COVID is because it's a novel virus. And they start attacking healthy cells, and it causes sepsis in your lungs, which causes pneumonia-like symptoms. If you're under the age of 45, you want to get COVID as soon as possible because there are 6 strands of COVID. Only one is deadly. So because it causes autoimmune disorder, a severe acute respiratory syndrome, you need to get the 5 strands of COVID that are not deadly before you get the 1 strand that is deadly, or the next strand that's going to mutate that is even more deadly than that. About 50% of the people who died from COVID were over the average age of death, about 49, more like 49%. A third of them had pre-existing conditions, which kill almost 1 million people per year. And next year, you don't know whether or not you're going to have diabetes or you're going to have cancer. And if you wear a mask in line, apparently you'll be just fine. I'm going to push back on that. The mask thing is absolute bullshit. The head of Sweden's, the top infectious disease expert in Sweden disagrees. He says that masks encourage people with COVID to go out and spread, and that ends up causing people to spread COVID. So when you have COVID, because it's not, okay, you shouldn't not try to, you should act like you had the flu when you're on COVID, because it really is kind of the same. But there is an epidemic going on. So if you're in an area where there is an epidemic, then you need to take precautions to mitigate the spread of it, to prevent your healthcare system from being overwhelmed. That would be the good reason. But you're not trying to prevent yourself from getting it. But when people when they have it and they have a mask on, they think, oh, the mask is going to prevent the droplets from spreading out. So that makes it okay. But what they don't understand is that about 50% of people who are infected from COVID before they have any sort of symptoms. This happens in private property. It happens at your house. It happens in your living room, in your bedroom, when you kiss somebody from Tinder, or when you are hanging out with your buddy and you smoke some pot, or you are just really close to them and then some of their breath gets in your face. That's how it spreads. Nothing hold on. A mask can do nothing to protect you from that. There's zero that a mask can do to protect you from that. And that's 50% of it. Given that, it's a freight train that is not going to stop. The only way to stop it is with herd immunity, because it's going to mutate before we are able to come up with a vaccine for it. So the only way to deal with it is through getting it so that your white blood cells know what it is, so that they don't attack the wrong cells in your body. We just want here. I got to look. No, we just went over the COVID Gaussian curves. I'm going to go to the article just because I need to show the people, because there's new viewers on the stream. So we just went over this. This is from NBC News. You can find it by searching for graphic : coronavirus deaths in the U.S. per day. And then you'll see that there's a bunch of little bumps in the graph, and these correlate to Gaussian curves, where different cities are having a Gaussian curve, an epidemic, not a pandemic. Pandemic means it's on multiple continents. Epidemic just means it's in just one place. A pandemic is an epidemic. So we can see the Gaussian curves. We can see that they end. And so here's deaths in New Jersey. And so we can see the Gaussian curve in New Jersey is over. So there's zero reasons as to why people in New Jersey would require mail-in voting to protect people from COVID, because the epidemic is certifiably over. Nobody can argue with this. This is a mathematical fact. Go here and look at the delta in New York from when the epidemic ended. Okay, so that's a long trail. I'm going to say it ended here on May 27th, because this is kind of, nah, that's like normal. They're like flu levels. That would just be like normal. So we see it tapering off, but we can see obviously the epidemic ended at about May 27th. And there's about a May, June, July, August. So there's a 3-month delta here where they have not had a explosion in COVID. So the epidemic is over, and you don't need to worry about COVID in New York. You don't have to wear a mask. That would be insane. But the Democrats this is their time to shine. This is their time to prove to you that they are the best authoritarian leaders, that when they are in control of where you go, whether or not you breed, whether or not you can see people's faces, whether or not you can hear the voices clearly, that they are going to do this spectacular job. And if you don't believe them, then you are denying the science, and you are a threat. You are trying to kill old people with COVID for believing in facts and thinking for yourself. This is the game that they are playing. This is the slippery slope that you travel down into in authoritarian land, where they sell you with niceness. People think that, people just turn into the supporting authoritarianism just because they're bad people, right? Right. Like, that's why everybody voted for Adolf Hitler in World War II. That's why Adolf Hitler won by a landslide. And obviously, people are completely unaware. Adolf Hitler came out of the women's suffrage movement. Women's suffrage happened women got their voting rights in 1918 in Germany, and they immediately after elected fascist, and they elected Adolf Hitler because he was the strong man that they thought was so handsome, that was doing such a good job. They elected the authoritarian leader because they liked the person and because they were goody-goodies. The Nazis thought capitalism is evil. We have to take it out. They were anti-capitalist. National Socialism was a competing ideology with communism. They were both forms of, one was Marxism, One was an evolution of Marxism. It was supposed to be better. It was the new kind of Marxism. Xi Jinping, the Zinni the Pooh, the dictator of China, he says he has a new kind of Marxism. Looks just like National Socialism when you look at it. So the Democrats are doing the same thing the Nazis are doing. Antifa, they started out as a hardcore communist group. They fought with the fascists in the street because the fascists were trying to take control. They believed in taking authority. So the communists had to fight them. But then eventually they realized they were on the same side. And so they joined together to take out the German Socialist Democratic Party. And then Hitler won in a landslide. And then because he won in a landslide, that is 100% proof beyond a reasonable doubt that the women who were part of the women's suffrage movement also supported Adolf Hitler. And in America, the Antifa closely mirror the Antifa and the Nazis in, the Democrats and the Antifa closely mirror Nazis in World War II Germany. And what does that have to do with this? Talking about mail sorting. So they're saying Donald Trump's trying to decommission these mail sorting machines. They're in swing states. So obviously, Democrats feel like they can win if they prevent us from participating in democracy at the polls and abridge our free speech. If they reduce the times, places, and manners where we can speak on public property, then they can win. Because apparently to them, they think that it's so important to protest in person because you can't do it online. You can't just do it in your house, that you have to go out in person and bring mobs of people down because that's how you get a movement to work. But no, you can't do that with democracy because Donald Trump would win. If people actually talked about what is going on, there's no way that they could win. The only way that they could win is by preventing you from going to the polls and rigging Facebook by controlling disinformation. I've been censored by Facebook so many times. I restarted my Facebook account like maybe 3 months, 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago. I have been censored probably like 20 times on Facebook for criticizing Black Lives Matter, for criticizing wearing masks, for telling people about the death rates of COVID. I've covered this on the show, so I'm not going to bust it out right now. You should watch prior episodes of the show where they talk about Facebook. You'll see if it says Facebook in the title, it has records of my censorship against me. And what they're trying to do, they're trying to control the political narrative. Twitter, Twitter stopped allowing politicians to. They don't serve politicians anymore. Twitter only serves corporations now. They want you to have organic reach. And so what that means is they want to give the mic to you and they want to take it away. And that they want the people that they've already installed in power and to stay in power because they've already taken out who they view is a threat to the leftist authoritarian order. So they can't allow anyone else to gain popularity now because they have control and they want to keep control. And so this is why Facebook is engaging in antitrust through censoring people on Facebook by claiming it's spam. And they committed perjury in federal court or in Congress. Mark Zuckerberg perjured himself to Congress. He said that they remove hate speech. He did not tell you at all that he's flagging everything else as spam. It's because he's a liar. They're ivory tower liberal scum pieces of shit. They are the crust in your underwear. They are the scum stain on your boots. They are cultural Marxists. They are the ones that believe that Marxism isn't the problem. It's the culture. It's the white supremacists that are holding down the African Americans, the Women, the Kleenex, and the Asians. So they're willing to commit election fraud. They have Trump derangement syndrome, and they are willing. This is look, the problem with mail-in ballots. I already covered this once, so you're going to hear it again if you've been watching the whole time. The problem with mail-in voting is that it is highly susceptible to voter intimidation. We have laws that prevent you from intimidating people at the voter booths. When you vote at home in your house, people often live with a partner or roommates who are controlling. If you vote for Trump, they'll kick you out, they'll divorce you. So if they know, they will intimidate you into voting a certain way. Or if they knew you voted a certain way, they can say, hey, I'll go turn in your ballot. And then they'll just throw your ballot away because they know you voted for Trump. They can also steal the ballot at the last minute because it just sits on the table. I live in Oregon. We do vote by mail here. Like all of these ways that I am explaining that could be manipulated. I've witnessed these things in Oregon with my own two eyes. I'm not just making them up. They're things that I've seen myself that are make me believe that mail-in voting is 100% fraudulent. So someone can wait until, if you don't fill out your ballot until the election, somebody can steal your ballot at the last minute, and vast majority of people will not go get another ballot. They can also tell somebody who has a memory issue that they didn't fill out their ballot. So if the person says, no, I did fill out my, all right, they said no, so you can manipulate somebody by telling them multiple times, you didn't fill out your ballot, you didn't fill out your ballot. After a certain number of times of telling the person this, they will have believed that they filled out their ballot. You can then just say, hey, look, you didn't fill out your ballot, sign the ballot, and then they'll sign the ballot. And they won't even think about it. That is four, was that 4 or 5? You absolutely inescapable reasons why mail-in voting is fraud. You cannot ignore this. The only people pushing for this is Democrats, and it's because they think they can win in swing states. This is exactly why. They said, oh, they decommissioned 671 machines that would process pieces of mail at lightning speed. Yeah, the ones made in the 70s. Yeah. Only it's not true. They had a large amount. They had a decrease in the volume of mail, and they had a bunch of new mail sorting machines. And these new mail sorting machines were able to process all of the mail. And so they decommissioned the ones that were going to get decommissioned. These 671 mail sorting machines, they were getting decommissioned anyways. They decommissioned them all at the same time, and then the mail backed up temporarily until they figured out the new system, and then now it's not an issue. They're also prioritizing the mail-in, the ballots. The ballots are getting sorted first before they sort everything else. So whatever they're trying to tell you is going on with the mail-in ballot is another lie. They want to prevent you from going to the polls, prevent you from speaking about the issues on public property. And it's because they're cultural Marxists. In this next article from the Daily Mail, sniper suspect who drove for UPS charged with attempted murder after he shot at 7 different cars along an Oregon interstate from his truck and wounded one woman over 3-month period. Kenneth Ayers, 49, of Roseburg, Oregon, was arrested by state police Thursday. Police tracked down his UPS truck an hour after the most recent shooting on Wednesday. So he's doing this out of a UPS truck. This is nuts. A search for the truck allegedly revealed the used in several shootings. A woman was shot while driving along Interstate 5 on Wednesday. Police say Ayers shot at several cars over a 3-month period of time. So was this guy just got like road rage or something? Not going to go too far into it because we got a lot of stories to cover, but this is just insane, man. He was held on $1 million bail. His court appearance is going to be virtually on. It was last Friday, and he asked for a defense lawyer from the court. The only thing I had taken a chance to talk to was my wife. He said several shootings were spread out over several locations in Jackson, Douglas, and Josephine counties in southern Oregon. People in Oregon be crazy as fuck, dude. I personally want to move out of this state. I think that Oregon is a leftist shithole. I've found that, okay, I used to throw huge raves back in the day, and I was like a music producer and went to Burning Man a lot. And I found that the people that were in the scene were absolute fucking douchebags, like horrible, detestable people. For example, I went to a Burning Man party and I was hanging out. This was, where was it? It was one of those super badass, heady Burning Man parties in Salem in Oregon. I can't forget which one it was. It was one of the coolest ones. And I was hanging out with some cool hippies the entire time. And I thought this one chick was so cool. She had dreads. She had those, like the cool burner outfit on with the small hat. And I got a ride home from this chick. And on the way home, this chick turned into a fucking psycho bitch, dude. Holy shit, I have never seen anybody be that fucking crabby of a fucking bitch, dude. Straight up. I thought she was cool as fuck at the Burning Man party. And then you fucking go see her outside of the party. She's an absolute fucking maniac, detestable person. This is the way it goes with liberals, dude. They're there because they want to be cool. They want to have people like them. And, so the radicals, these black looter mobs up in Portland, they're all radicalized from, so we got the group of people who's doing all the raves, and like most of those people are cool, but then you'll find the absolute snakes in that group. And so the white feminists here in Oregon, they think that everybody's cool. They just think that like just because they wore some cool clothes and they're white and they're feminist, that they are like a good person. And I hate to be the one to break it to you, but this is fake. There's no truth to this about it at all. Just because they wear clothes and look cool does not mean that they're a good person. In fact, the fact that they're wearing really fancy clothes and they're always obsessed with their appearance is evidence that they're possibly a narcissist and that you might want to stay away from that person. If you're hanging out with people and you always feel bad because you're not as good as the other people, and they wear fancy clothes, chances are you're friends with narcissists and you need to back off. I got taken advantage of by these narcissists. I thought that they were good people. It ruined my life. It destroyed my life when all of these fantasies just crumbled. You're like, I thought from being feminist, because I was feminist my entire life, until I realized one day that after I started helped start the 2016 Portland anti-Trump protest, I realized that if I criticized feminism on Facebook, that they would turn on me because I'd seen them do it to a number of people. So I started posting meninist jokes on Facebook, and lo and behold, the leftist mob came and started savagely attacking me, and I got canceled. And there was one tweet that got 140,000 views on Twitter when I was in a row with one of the heads of the NVIDIA Corporation, because they posted that it was so nice that women make more than men now. I said, well, how does that help African-American people out? Have you ever had a feminist attack you and try to destroy your life for criticizing feminism? And then they came and attacked me. And some nine replies guy posted me all over the internet. I got like 140,000 views on it. Thanks. No advertising is bad advertising. But these people, they've been radical. They are all radicalizing themselves on this feminism. They think that the white man is, the racist white man is holding down the women and the African Americans, and that the white man took the land from the Amerindians, which is not true. 95% of the Amerindians died from smallpox. If they had only invented the wheel first, and only invented the boat first, and only invented that smallpox medication, then they would be the majority of people here in America. But they did not do any of those things, and they did not invent any of our modern technology. They might maybe have invented one or two things, but they invented pretty much zero. That's what you call a primitive. So these people, they think those people have more of a right to be here than the people who actually own the land. They think you don't have a right to enforce your immigration laws because that's racist, because somehow Mexicans are a race of people. I guess if you go by the Nazi definition of race, like the Aryan race or Jews is a race, Jews is not a race, Jews is an ethnicity, then maybe that's correct. But the reality of the world is that Latinos are not actually a race of people. Latino actually means that they immigrated to America from Latin America. Most people in America, most Democrats, most liberals, they think the shit they do without doing any sort of research at all. They don't know anything about it. That is completely unknown. People have no clue that Latinos aren't a race of people. They don't. They think Latinos are an actual race of people. Not true. None of it is true. Not at all. No, Mexicans are not a race of people. In fact, light-skinned Mexicans are extremely racist. They were descendants of conquistadors, dude. They're some of the most racist people in the world. These are the people that they think have more of a right to be here than the white people. And basically that's anti-white racism. They're saying, because I'm white, I'm not allowed to utilize the law as it's written. Only minorities are allowed to utilize the law. If you're white, you don't have a right to be here because the Amerindians died from smallpox. And supposedly one of these tribes has to be in control. So it's like the Aztecs, because they were the most powerful ones. The ones that did the ritual human sacrifice. And so this UPS driver obviously is reacting on the other side. He obviously does not like the shit that's going on because this guy's got road rage. Hold on, let's look this dude up. Can we look this dude up? Just gonna do a real quick search, see whether or not we can find out whether or not this guy is a Democrat. I'm presuming he is not a Democrat. That's my presumption, is that this guy hates this shit. Doesn't look like we're going to find it. Hey, I tried though. I'm going to take credit for trying. So we covered this, mail-in voting, fraud, covered the UPS dude. In this next article from WDEL 101.7 FM in Delaware, woman charged after video shows theft of boy's MAGA hat, sign ripped in Wilmington. Where's Wilmington? Here's the video of the incident.
Can you get off my property? Get off my property? Are you destroying my property?
Yes, we are.
You know that's a felony?
That one too. You don't get that one.
Get away from
Back the out. Get it, Lim. Get it.
Touch my hat.
Take your hat. That's somebody else's hat. Take that hat.
Get your hat back, baby. Look at what you just did to my son. Get your hat back, baby. Get your hat back, baby.
We don't give a Mom likes Trump.
Give me back my hat. 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 Give me back my hat.
telling you right
Give me
now.
back my hat.
I'm telling you right now.
You're gonna steal my property? I'll follow you to your car and get your license plate.
And I'm walking. I live in town.
911. You want me to call 911?
How your baby sounds.
You want me to call 911? Taylor, these people right here are taking your hat. They attacked my son. I have it on video. I have it on video.
Touch your kid. Back up.
I have it on video. I have it on video. I have it on video.
I'm telling you to back the
Yeah, you want to try me? You want to try me? You want to try me? I
Give me the
got the whole thing on video. I got the whole thing on video. Don't attack me.
So does anybody watching this actually think that Democrats wouldn't commit mail-in vote fraud, based upon this video? If you don't think that Democrats would commit mail-in voting fraud to prevent Trump from being democratically elected president, you should comment at realsimplenews.net/issue88.
Oh, you gonna punch him? You gonna punch him? Oh, yeah, you gonna punch? Oh, you gonna sucker punch me? You gonna sucker punch me? Take my hat. Take my hat, baby. You wanna sucker punch me? Yeah, I saw you punch me. I saw you trying to punch me.
I wish you would. They will beat the shit out of you. Take you with your Go ahead. I wish you would. We will knock your fuck out. We will knock you.
That's why when you went to hit me, you didn't, right? That's why when you went to hit me.
What's up?
I'm not trying to hit you. I'm not trying to fight you. You're coming after me. I'm not afraid of you.
See,
I'm not.
You'll notice the spineless coward there was an absolute little bitch when she was when the chick was stepping up until her man came, and then she's like, "Oh, my man's here. Oh, now I can do whatever I want." Just little fucking punk, dude. Fuck that bitch. Okay, we saw the build a wall. All right, sweet. We made it here. Let me put up the green screen here. We got more show coming up. Just hang on. Yes, we made it. Here, the camera's here. Like, I forgot to turn on the camera here. I just gotta do something. Uh-oh. Here. I'll figure it out here. Let me replug in this thing. Oh man, that was my fault. Is that on? Come on. Come on. Great. Great. Okay. Well, yeah, I can't really do that. I'm not down with not stopping the show right now, so I'm going to get this camera fixed. If you just give me a moment here, we'll just go back to the I really fucking hate this shit, dude. That's not it. I'm almost there. I got what we need. Woo. Well, that didn't take very long now, huh? What the fuck is up with this shit, dude? Hey, there we go. If you do make a donation to the show, it will actually help us buy more. I thought I bought really good stuff, but everything's got issue. Everything that I bought has issues. Like, so if you do actually like this content, the best thing that you can do is you can like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, share our videos, but also too, if you can make a donation at realsimplenews.net/donate. You can make a donation via PayPal. But again, the number one best way to help is to share the videos. This is the only way that we're going to be able to spread this content to help de-radicalize people and get people to wake up to the evils of the Democratic Party, because that group of people is a rotten cesspool of bad apples. Absolutely detestable people. As you can see, my mouse also too is broken. I had to buy a new mouse too. Obviously the camera, I need a hardware unit. There goes that's it. Is that it? That's really, really just debilitating, man. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what's going on, man. This is so fucking stupid. I hate this so much. I fucking hate this, dude. I really fucking hate this. Okay, maybe it's the card. I work really hard for the show. It's really frustrating when the equipment doesn't work. There's nothing that I can do. I worked many, many, many hours to get the show together, and we just kind of have to move on. In this next article from Daily Mail, Dr. Anthony Fauci tells Australia and the world they will defeat COVID-19. Dr. Anthony Fauci appears in his first Australian interview on 60 Minutes on Sunday, sharing his message of hope as the world battles to fight the deadly disease. Let's watch what Fauci said. This is crazy.
We're going to get out of this. We're going to end this. Guarantee.
The best news of the year.
It's going to end in Australia.
From the expert who knows.
It's going to end all over the world because we have the capability of doing it, and it's up to us.
On 60 Minutes.
The science, the facts, and the evidence speak for themselves.
In his only Australian interview.
He's a little bit of an alarmist. No, I describe myself as a realist.
Dr. Anthony Fauci explains how to survive a pandemic
Dr. Fauci's made some mistakes.
alongside the toughest boss in the world.
We've listened to Dr. Fauci. I haven't always agreed
But
with
that
him.
was like he's a rock star.
A good relationship.
Well, I would say it's complicated. Does anybody have any question? How about that for a euphemism?
Sunday, after the block on 9
Woo!
and 9
Down! Woo! Obviously,
Thank you very much,
Fauci
Mr.
thinks
Vice
he's a
President.
rock
Just
star.
to give you
I'm
a
going to push back on Mr. Fauci here. I haven't seen jack shit from Fauci. I don't know what the fuck he does. I do know that he coordinates large-scale studies. And I am not going to pretend like I am anywhere near qualified to do that. But honestly, I couldn't tell you what the hell Fauci does. He's never done anything important. Let's look up Mr. Fauci. What has Mr. Anthony Fauci even done? Because all I've heard so far is him sound like a complete fucking idiot about COVID. About half the deaths from COVID, half of the deaths are from people with pre-existing, from people over the average age of death. When's Fauci said this, dude? He's looking at the numbers. This dude should totally know, oh, well, this stuff's not deadly at all for young people. And that young people, if they put it off until next year, they might have diabetes or cancer, might greatly increase their chance of dying from COVID. So what did this guy do? His awards were Maxwell Finwell Award, Ernest Achievement given annually by the National Foundation of Infectious Disease. So it's some rubber stamped thing. Another award, Biomedical Sciences. Some awarded thing. Okay, so what has he actually done in his career? I want to know what Fauci has actually done that makes him so career. Medical achievements. He visited the NIH in 1995. He met with George Clinton, received National Medal of Science for AIDS, HIV research. So he's good with the immunosuppressive agents. He knows some stuff about polyarteritis nodosa, granulomolysis with polyangiitis, imofemototal gonotomitis, the 1985 Stanford University Arthritis Center study for the American Rheumatism Association. Member of ranked Fauci's work with the treatment of polyarteritis. Okay, so what did he actually do, though? He contributed to the understanding of how HIV destroys the body defenses, leading to the progression of AIDS. He outlined the mechanisms of introduction of HIV expression by endogenous cytokines. Okay, so he came up in the HIV thing. So this, and then he testified in Congress on Ebola. So I wouldn't really classify this dude as being like a genius. I would classify him as being a hard worker who did some, he was a smart guy. But this is just some standard science stuff. This is, what did he invent? Where his he figured out some stuff about AIDS, but there was a bunch of people trying to figure that out. So he didn't spearhead it. So if he had spearheaded it, then that would be very impressive. But he did not spearhead this thing. It was going by itself. So he just did some research. Fauci said he was worried the George Floyd process could lead to a spike in COVID-19 cases. But he'll tell you need to wear a mask. He'll say you need to wear a cloth mask. That you need to wear it in any sort of indoor area. And it's because he's a scared old person. He's not the kind of person I would follow into battle. I would expect him to tuck tail and run like a coward because he's an older person. This is a battle where he would be affected. So I think personally, he should not be the head of the CDC because of his age, because it prevents him from making reasonable judgments based upon fear. Most of this guy's judgments have been made based upon evidence that he takes from Democrat scientists. 86% of scientists are Democrat. I pulled this out earlier, so we're going to look at the thing because I pulled it out. So let's actually look into it. This study from Pew Research Center says, titled "Public Praises Scientists, Scientists Fault Public Media." This will show you the voting tendencies of scientists, and you'll see that where are they at? It's down here a little bit. That 86% of scientists vote for Democrats. Here it is. 86. So we look at the 6%. Here's the 6% Republicans. So registered Democrats, they're 35%, which is 10% above the average. And then the other, this is the brainwashed group, the independent groups, because they vote for Democrats. They say they're independent, but they absolutely, well, hold on. These and the Democrats are brainwashed. So, oh wait, hold on. No, I said that. I was looking at the public. Oh, no, sorry. I said the numbers wrong. Scientists, 55% of them are registered Democrats. General public is 35. 30, about the same as independent. That's statistically irrelevant. So we could see, obviously, they have an extreme bias against Republicans in the scientific community. You could definitely, from my experience, I found them to be the epicenter of cancel culture. The reason why I got canceled was because of these scientists. It's because they hate Donald Trump. They had Trump derangement syndrome, and they didn't like my tone of voice, and they thought because I was not a feminist that I was a misogynist. Because to them, it's just black and white. They look at everything through a political lens. This is why you cannot trust anything that they say about anything political at all. If it comes from a scientist and it's not data, you can't trust it. You can trust it less than you can trust other people's information that's not scientists. And the reason for it, I'm an engineer. I don't like to say that. I don't want to say that. I want to say you can trust these scientists. They're smart people, but my experience with these people is that is not true. It is not true that you can trust them. It is the only thing that is true is that you can't trust them, that they will do something. They will look at the data through a political lens. And the reason is because when they go to college, and the colleges have been radicalized by left-wing extremists, then they believe the liberal dogma. They expel everyone. They fire. They cancel everyone like me. They're all gone. That's why I'm doing this show, is because I was canceled. I don't have any other options. They came for me. They're coming for you next, and no one will be there to speak for you if I do not speak for you. I have to speak for myself, and when I do so, I will also make sure that I speak for you. And they absolutely despise people that they think are not, that they think are racist. And the reason for this is because the tech companies and a lot of other companies too, but it's a big problem in tech. They've been taken over by immigrants. So like 1 in 10 people in the United States is an immigrant now. And that's crazy. It used to be like 3 to 5% of people were immigrants, like really, really small percentage of people. But then it's doubled. And the reason why is because the global community is trying to buy out America. Of course, the global community is trying to buy everything everywhere. They have money in the bank. They have businesses in other countries. They want to expand. They want to go into your country, expand into your country, send their people there. They want them to take over and them to be in control. They have these H-1B visas, which I think need to get cut off. They've been exploited. They are no longer a benefit. In fact, they are of a great threat to our country. The reason why is because they are insanely toxic people. You want to talk about the most toxic people in the industry? Look at H-1B visa people. They are required as part of their H-1B visa to hit certain performance targets. If they do not hit those performance targets, they're out. This causes them to be insanely toxic, radioactive, glowing toxic. We're talking you can get radiation poisoning off the toxicity from these people. And the reason, now they're nice people on the surface, but they engage in toxic positivity. They are isolated. They're lonely. They tend to lash out like the other guys who are in the same boat. I know because I am an engineer who also has gone through lonely, isolated periods of working all day and then lashes out too. It's a common pattern with people who crunch. I own a business, so I have to crunch. And when you crunch, you end up with, you can end up with PTSD. It can be bad. It can turn into complex post-traumatic stress syndrome. The H-1B visa people, we're all have been compared to these people. If the tech companies could have their way, they would fire all of the Americans and hire all H-1B visas. That's because they want to bias everything towards their group of people. They want to take away your resources and make sure that you can't compete with them, because that's how capitalism works. Capitalism works through you gaining control of the market and then maintaining control of the market. And if you can't do that, you are not going to be a very good capitalist. But there's a problem with these people in these corporations up in these ivory towers, is that they fire everybody else. They get up to the top. Then they fire everyone else. They make it to the top of the ivory tower. Then they institutionalize this overworking culture where in order to be able to be in that group of people, you have to crunch. You can't have a kid anymore. So if you're a woman, you have to give up having a child and a family so that you can slave for these corporations so that you can meet the cost benefit of the H-1B visa people, because it's you have to understand that corporations look at you like a dollar sign. You are nothing but a dollar sign to these people. They don't actually care about you. They're not actually your friends. They're your coworkers. The moment it's going to be expedient for them, financially beneficial for them to get rid of you, they will get rid of you. It's the way it works. You have to continue to provide that value. You have to continue to up the value for the dollar, or else you're gone. You're out. That's why these people are glowing radioactive toxic, because they fire everybody. A lot of them come from Europe. A lot of them come from China. They come from communist countries like Vietnam. I've definitely had a number of friends from Vietnam and engineering friends. They, through Intel, they get scholarships to go to school at Intel, or to go to school and work for Intel. So Intel goes and recruits the best and the brightest students. They send them to Portland State University, where I used to be a student ambassador at when I went to engineering school there. And they're the competition for us. So I got kicked out of engineering school mainly because they didn't like my voice, but because my GPA, I had developed CPTSD from having to be my own attorney in court. It's called legal abuse syndrome. My child was kidnapped by a radical feminist who held my son hostage in a hoarder house. It looked like the inside of a trash can. And it was my son's grandmother. She got an attorney and made up a bunch of lies. Got some Oregon judge to take away my kid because they said I used a baby monitor and that I threatened to deny contact to the grandmother. This was after my son's mother neglected my child. There's background information. My son's mother was a piece of shit. Went down the toilet. She got in trouble with DHS, and her mom went and tried to get the kid. Said I was going to stop talking to her, and that I used a baby monitor at my house. And so this was Is it not acting in the kid's best interest? Because apparently, like when I had friends over and I used a baby monitor, it never actually happened. But this is the reason why I lividly hate Democrats, not the Democratic Party. I lividly despise the Democrats in Oregon. I think that they are scum pieces of shit. They are the bottom of the barrel, most detestable scum. The most detestable scum in the entire world are goody-goodies. Seriously. They are the biggest problems. I would rather deal with a psycho-killing genocidal maniac than a bunch of goody-goodies. At least you can kill the psycho-killing genocidal maniac. When the goody-goodies, they take control, they'll cancel you. They'll shut you down. You won't have any sort of free speech. And these scientists are goody-goodies, dude. You want to know why drugs are illegal? Blame the scientists, dude. Why are they illegal? Because a group of scientists said, we know the data. We're scientists. We saw the graphs. We looked at the data. It said drugs are dangerous. Marijuana is a gateway drug. And then they illegalized drugs. They did a war on drugs. Killed over 1 million people in the war on drugs, counting all the deaths in South America and Central America, as well as the extra overdoses that would have happened. It was well over 1 million deaths. And so they're selling you on fear. This is the same kind of shit that they did when they outlawed drugs. They said, no, we're trying to protect people. We can't let people actually think for themselves or take their own health into their own hands. No, you need to have the government needs to control that for you because you're unable to think for yourself because they are so much smarter than you. They know everything about infectious diseases. They know how your house is supposed to be run. They know where you're supposed to wear a mask. They know when you're supposed to go out to a bar, when you're not going to. And obviously, this is completely untrue. Obviously, no one knows this but you. Obviously, you are not stupid, else you would not be watching this show. Obviously,